What's going on in Iran? And should we be concerned? Welcome to Scrying Out Loud. My name is Trevor. First off, a huge thank you to everybody who's subscribed to the channel. Thank you for liking, watching, and commenting on the videos. Hitting that thumbs up button and leaving a comment really does help the algorithm get the videos to more people. So for that, thank you, thank you, thank you. So as you may have woken up to, the U.S. and Israel bombed Iran. Iran has bombed some U.S. sites back and Israel. That's my understanding of the latest, although things are still breaking, so I might have some things not exactly right. Let's start with, does this escalate? And then we'll look into some of the politics about it. This is an emotional reset. Do you think we need to rethink a little bit, perhaps, just how unstable the people in charge are? Okay, so does this escalate? I kind of always thought that if we bombed Iran, this would be kind of like the last time we bomb and it's done. I'm not so sure anymore. The Queen of Cups. So lots of emotions from people. The Four of Wands. I think the felon and his administration will find that the people are not happy about this. In particular, his statement that some U.S. troops might die as a result of this. That's, yeah. And the Fool card, let's see what that means here in just a second. The seeds were planted. He's been talking about this for a while. He didn't really address it in the State of the Union or whatever we want to call that crazy speech that he did the other day. He briefly talked about how they can't get a nuclear weapon. Well, I mean, all evidence showed that they weren't close, or at least the stuff that I was reading. Loss. I think this is the overall sentiment. It's hard not to feel a sense of loss because it's a loss of control or perceived control. It's like they're acting without a consent, and they did act without consent of Congress, and we'll look at that here in a second. The Ace of Pentacles, this is our new reality. The Nine of Cups, greed, wish fulfillment. I really do think this is because his poll numbers are bad, and I know that might sound a little bit chaotic to some around the world, but I think that's the case. I think Netanyahu's okay with it because Netanyahu wants another war so that he doesn't have to worry about his political future. I don't think these are going to work, by the way. The Two of Swords, there are no good choices at this point, and I think we're kind of trapped. The Eight of Swords. So emotions are high. I think the world as a whole feels a loss, and I think the U.S. and Israel has backed themselves into a corner. It's like, okay, the U.S. attacks, Iran attacks, and it's back and forth. Mostly done for greed. Again, I think there's a great sense of loss. And I think people just want a new start. That's really what people want. The people aren't happy about this. Yes, they heard him planting the seeds with the Four of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles. And there really aren't any good choices. And this is kind of our new reality. excuse me, it's not like we can stop this, right? I mean, we can go to the streets, we can protest. These types of things will be helpful, but underneath the giving and receiving, what's actually going on here? The Six of Pentacles. All right, let's just ask the question, just yes or no. Was this solely because of his bad poll numbers? Was this solely because of his bad poll numbers? I think so. The Temperance card. I think in his crazy world, we'll get distracted and we'll forget that the economy's bad. We'll forget that his policies have been harmful. It's just not gonna work. So the next question I'd like to ask is, will there be pushback from Republicans? And I actually think there will be. I think there'll be big pushback from Rand Paul, but will there be pushback from other Republicans? And does this, I want to ask one more question. Does this have to do with the Epstein files too? Let's ask that first. Is he doing this to cover up his name in the Epstein files? Yeah, he's worried about it. The Nine of Swords. And the world is watching. What are they covering up? His perversion. This obviously it's a tarot reading. I could be right, I could be wrong. It's for entertainment purposes only, but I think that and his poll numbers, and his poll numbers in a great part are low because of the way they've handled the Epstein files. So will there be pushback from Republicans? Will there be pushback from Republicans? I think we'll already see the pushback from Democrats. Just basically, the pushback is going to be, you should go through Congress before starting a war. And he called it a large escalation. They're going to have to make choices, the Lover's card. Contracts as well. Are they going to honor their oath? The Empress card, I do think we have to ask, how does Russia fit into this? Of course, Russia and Iran are usually pretty backed. Russia will back Iran, I should say. How does that play into things? I think Congress will want to put up guardrails, and they very well might. We'll take a look at that too. The truth is they don't have really many good choices, kind of like you and me. It's like, well, we could take to the streets, or we could go to national TV if we're a politician and say, this shouldn't be going on. At the center of the readings, the Eight of Pentacles, I do think that there is some, I think there will be an appetite here to de-escalate this. I don't know that it'll get through. We'll take a look. The Moon card, there's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of unknowns right now because it just happened literally hours ago. And I'll probably just release this when I'm done filming it. I'm filming it about 8 in the morning Eastern. This will be part of his legacy. They should know better by this time. I do think this changes things, though. The Ace of Cups, that's twice that's popped out. I think it changes the way people are viewing his crazy. I think it just changes how much confidence we have. And I think Congress is mad. Our Republicans are mad, the Three of Swords. I think they'll have to make some choices. Do they set up a different plan to conquer this betrayal, so to speak, with the Lover's card, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Three of Swords? It really shouldn't be unexpected. This is part of his legacy. Again, the question is, do they put together a plan, the Eight of Pentacles, to put up guardrails, the Nine of Wands? I think we have to ask, does Russia have a role in this? I'm not sure, but we'll ask the question. And again, I don't think Congress has the best of choices, but I do think this is a wake-up call. The Two of Swords and the Ace of Cups. And there's a lot of volatility. The situation's evolving. He clearly made a statement that was untrue. I think I even said this on one of the readings, that Iran does not have the capability of launching a missile to the U.S. They just don't. And he said that they did, and experts disagree, and there was this whole thing. So, there's a lot of lies. I think there's some murmurs in Congress on what to do over this, particularly the loss of life. Okay. Is Russia... Whoa. Does Russia... is Russia somehow involved? That's just me dropping the cards. They're not popping out. Is Russia somehow involved? There's definitely reason to think so, but I don't... The Five of Cups and the Three of Swords betrayal. I don't think so. At least not in a obvious sort of way. Will they become involved? That's a different story. Okay, so will the Israeli citizens push back here? I'm pretty sure they're not terribly excited about bombs flying into Israel again, or the possibility of that continuing to happen. See, the thing that I don't think the felon understands is that the Iranian regime, to my understanding, which may or may not be right, but they don't care about their citizens. I just don't think they do. So, loss of life in Iran, while tragic, of course, I don't think that changes the regime's philosophy at all. So, well, loss of life in Israel, and I'm not saying that's going to happen, by the way, I'm just saying that I do think would change things. Be pushed back from Israeli citizens. Right now, I think that there's some open minds. The Seven of Cups. They're looking at this partnership with the U.S. They're already uncomfortable with it. And they're worried about loss. They've already lost a lot. And, not as much as Gaza, of course, but, the loss of reputation, the loss of life, the loss of feeling free, the loss of worrying about missiles hitting things. The Four of Cups, they do not like this. There's a lot of volatility, things coming to the surface. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see people in the streets during the day. They already feel wounded. We keep getting fives. This has been happening for a lot. Fives are about change. So we're at this inflection point, and it's quite painful. I know for me, it's disturbing. The Eight of Pentacles, they think there's a better way. They feel betrayed, the Three of Swords. And they don't believe anything the felon or Netanyahu says. Deceit and deception, the Seven of Swords. So, I think they were open-minded. I think right now they're just angry because there's missiles flying through the air again, and they feel deceived. The Seven of Swords. They want to know what the plan is, the Eight of Pentacles, to address this ongoing situation, which is quite volatile, the Moon card. And they're quite worried about loss, the Five of Cups. They're uneasy about this partnership with the U.S. They don't like what's going on, the Four of Cups. They feel betrayed, the Three of Swords. And they also feel like they've already been through a lot, the Five of Swords. And I don't think the felon or Netanyahu's really thought out, what does this do with Hamas and Hezbollah and Al-Qaeda and ISIS? And it's not really just that simple. They're just not very smart. The Eight of Wands, they're worried this is going to be a devolving situation. Okay. Before we get into the politics of this, just kind of a few cards of how worried should we be. I think there'll be messages coming forward. Alliances, the Two of Cups. The world's watching, though. I don't think the world's very happy about this. Okay, so will this spread beyond the current geographical area? Meaning beyond Iran, Israel, and the military bases that the U.S. has. So the U.S. has military bases in Qatar, the UAE, I think. The UAE. I know Qatar for sure. I think the UAE as well. I almost wonder if something wasn't said yesterday. And I did notice that gas prices in our area went up like 30 cents, but I didn't really think too much about it because it's not that big of a rise, but it makes me wonder. The Full card, this, we're walking blindly here. I do think this gets contained. That's good, the Eight of Swords. The Strength part, quiet diplomacy. I do think that the world will step up and try to negotiate here. Yep, overseas attention, juggling things. The Chariot card. I don't think this, if this does end tomorrow, I don't think we'll know it, right? I think we're going to be guessing about this for a while. He's quite ill. I do think when he goes, it'll be over because it doesn't make any sense. Again, I think the world knows enough to know that this isn't about what's going on with their nuclear program. The World card and the Nine of Pentacles. And volatility. So I do think, it's hard to really predict where this is heading, the Fool card and the Chariot card. The one thing I think we can say for sure is the situation is volatile. For example, if Hezbollah decides to start doing things, does that suddenly mean Israel's bombing Lebanon? And then, do they make a mistake and then Lebanon starts bombing them as an entity, as a country, not as a terrorist organization inside of Lebanon? it could get messy very fast. I do think, the world knows what this is about, and it's not about their nuclear program. The question is, how do we move forward with diplomacy? I do think for the most part, this gets isolated to regions that we're talking about. I do think the world will try to bring about some sort of negotiations, the Two of Pentacles and the World card. Don't forget, we had a deal with Iran, and a nuclear deal with Iran under Obama, and he got rid of it because he's sick, the Four of Swords. So nothing that he says is true. Of course, that's basically a tautology. I don't think the rest of the world wants to get involved. That's good. And I think, the real threats here, like for big escalation, would be like Russia and China, but China's not going to do anything. They don't want to. It's not in their interest, and Russia, I don't think, is capable at this point. Okay, so I'm just curious, will there be talk of Republicans about impeachment? I keep thinking that there will at some point. Will there be talks from Republicans about impeachment? They're nervous to do so, but that's what they want to do, the Nine of Swords. Could do it over the Epstein files. It doesn't have to be over what... probably hard to impeach him over this because, he claimed national security issues. Epstein might be the better route. Again, I don't think it'll work. We get the Five of Cups, loss. And the Four of Wands, the people want him gone. I think that is true in the polling. You can just look. His approval rating's in the low 30s now. We haven't seen anything this bad since George W. Bush after he crashed the economy. Not even after he went to war, after he crashed the economy. And, well, he went to war, then crashed the economy. Victory, though, that's an interesting card, the Six of Wands. Walking away, the Sun card. I do think we'll get to the bottom of why this is happening. Circles of support and celebration, the Three of Cups, and the Truth, the Ace of Swords. I think they're anxious because I don't know that they think they can win if they were to impeach him. And that's just the truth. And they're probably right. Could you get 5 or 6 House members to join Democrats and impeach him? Probably. Can you get 67 senators to convict when you need 20 Republicans? Probably not. So I do think we'll learn more about this. I do think that Congress will say something, but ultimately I don't know that it goes anywhere. I wish I could say better things, but I just think that's the truth. If they were to do it, I think they have to do it over Epstein. The voters want him gone, the Four of Wands. He's still got support, though, the Three of Cups, inside of Congress. But eventually, people turn their back on him as we go into the election year. So I do think that's going on. And the Page of Cups underneath, bombshells and surprises. Weirder things have happened. Emotional messages coming forward. I think it's unlikely. I wouldn't say it's... I think there'll be talk of impeachment. I don't think the actual impeachment will happen. So just a couple cards. What is it we can do? And then we'll throw some oracle cards to finish this. What is it we can do? I think we can make our voices heard. Judgment. How displeased we are, the Eight of Wands. and how we want to move on. The Chariot card. And basically, we want him gone, the Death card. We want an end to all of this crazy. We have to be logical, though, the King of Swords. We're in a tower moment, and I think we need to remember that. We don't necessarily get to control the tower moment, which is unfortunate, but we want stability. I think we could make that known. That we don't like what they're selling, the Four of Cups, and that we don't like the volatility of the government. I suspect there will be a lot of protests today. I suspect they will grow larger tomorrow. This would be what I would expect to happen. So I think we can make our judgment known. I think we can just state logically that we don't want the volatility. So, protests along the lines of stop the craziness, I think would be more effective. We want stability, and we want, what is the plan? We don't really know the plan. The Chariot card. We all want him gone, the Death card. We feel like we're spiraling out of control, the Eight of Wands, and the Four of Cups, and then the Tower card. In the long run, things are going to be okay. They will be, but today's a tough day. Temperance underneath. We just want moderation. Let's start some oracle cards. So this is the Animal Oracle deck. Just some oracle cards to kind of, what do we need to keep in mind as we go through this? I feel very disturbed. What do we need to know as we go through this? Doesn't quite feel right. What do we need to know as we go through this? That does. Watch your words. There are attacks on the First Amendment. Makes me nervous a little bit doing what I do. I think we need to be careful how we phrase things. Be playful, the sandpiper spirit, along with the parrot spirit, both birds. So watching the birds is never a bad idea. They usually are quite informative if we're able to listen. Be playful. There's only so much we can do. There really is. I wish we could just march and put an end to all of this, but that's just not the way it works. The deer spirit, bring a gentle touch. Be open to listening to your friends or contacting your friends if you're feeling disturbed and can't quite put your finger on where things are headed. The elephant spirit, learn from the past. If we're to learn from the past, this probably won't last long. I'm not saying that it won't. I'm just saying that generally when he starts something, it's over fairly quickly. And the chameleon spirit, manifest a peaceful world. Act as if the world is peaceful. No, I want to rephrase that. I don't mean that. Just envision a peaceful world. Keep that in your mind. Hold that in your energy, and perhaps that can help. Underneath here is the stag spirit. Take the lead. If you want to protest, by all means, just be careful. Watch your words. I think that's what that's about. Let's not create problems for ourselves by saying things we shouldn't, or we don't necessarily even mean to people that are also don't have a say in this, right? So law enforcement, local law enforcement particularly, they don't have a say in this either. So, all right, well, I was hoping to do a happy, fun video for Saturday, but I guess this is what we get. Hang in there, things really will be okay. I have full confidence that's true. They feel out of control, and therefore we feel highly uncomfortable. All right, I'll be back with another video soon.